Hi friends, I broke my hearing aid. I'm super sad about this. In today's video, I'm going to tell you about how I broke my hearing aid and how I felt afterwards. This is normal to feel this way, especially when you break a hearing device. I hope you stick around to the end of this video because if you do, you'll realize that breaking a hearing aid is a normal part of hearing aid ownership, and I'm going to be making another video that tells you what to do in the case that you do break your hearing aid. If you're new, my name is Emily. I created Definite Hearing as a way to increase awareness for the deaf and hard of hearing. I'm hard of hearing myself. I was diagnosed with my hearing loss at birth via newborn hearing screening. I have a genetic hearing loss, which means that the combination of my parents' genes resulted in my hearing loss. This hearing loss is via connexin 26 in my DNA. This is not an uncommon source of hearing loss for children with sensory neural genetic hearing losses. I wear hearing aids and I love them so much. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to making more great hearing loss related content for you. All right, so let's get to it. How did I break my hearing aid? Well, I was cleaning my hearing aids. It is important to keep your hearing aids clean so that sound can pass through from your mold to your aid and back into your ear. If you have wax blocking your molds or your tubes, then it prevents the sound and reduces the sound quality that goes through your hearing aid. So I was cleaning my hearing aid. I had taken my ear hook off of my hearing aid, which is right here. And just caveat, this is not my broken hearing aid. This is one that I did not break. So I was cleaning my hearing aid and I wanted to put the ear hook back on the hearing aid. And when I did, there was a gap. And so I decided to twist it a little bit more and it just broke the threaded connection between my hearing aid to my ear hook. And unfortunately, it broke in a way that couldn't be repaired unless it was sent in. So I broke this piece of my hearing aid off into the ear hook. I was so sad. So here I am just trying to put my hearing aid back together thinking, oh, it doesn't look like it's tight enough. And I just tightened it just a little bit more and it just fell apart. Here I am with two pieces of a hearing aid, an ear hook and a hearing aid, realizing they can't go back together, wanting to rewind my life just 2 seconds to just say, you know what? It's not all the way to get flush, but it's gonna work. It's like if you've ever been in a car accident, you just have that gut-wrenching feeling of oh, can I just rewind life 2 seconds? Because this one little mistake or event, just it's gonna change your life for a little bit. If it's a car accident, you're working with insurance. If it's a broken hearing aid, you're working with your audiologist and the repair company. So that's how it broke. I just tightened it too much and it was a break that had to be replaced or repaired. So I was able to contact my audiologist. I was able to get a loaner. So I have a loaner, which is not my hearing aid, but a hearing aid I borrow while my broken hearing aid is being replaced. And I'm grateful for that. I will talk about that more in a what do I do if my hearing aid breaks video. So stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to my channel, definitely subscribe so you can get a notification when that video comes out. But I just want to emphasize that it is totally normal to have that gut-wrenching feeling when you realize your hearing aids are broken. It's normal to wonder, what do I do? It's normal to wonder, is there any way I can fix this? It's normal to want to just super glue it together. I highly recommend not super gluing or taping or anything like that until you figure out what your options are. Because if you start adding glue and things to your hearing aid, it can void the potential warranty, and a patch-up fix may not fix your hearing aid in the way that it needs to be fixed to operate properly. I luckily found out that my warranty is good through 2023, so I sent it in. Now, if my warranty was not good, at that point I probably would have tried to super glue it together in an effort to avoid having to pay thousands of dollars for a new hearing aid. But it is good to be aware of the options, and it's normal to feel really disappointed. Also, I lost a lot of sleep that night. I was cleaning my hearing aid that night. I went right to bed right after it happened, and I lost a lot of sleep just thinking how am I going to function at work, on calls? I just felt so stupid for breaking my hearing aid, and it just made me really grateful that I have hearing aids every other point in my life. So that was really interesting. I had trouble sleeping just because of all the emotions that I was dealing with. Have you ever broke a hearing aid? Have you ever dealt with a roller coaster of emotions after doing so? If so, I would love to hear in the comments below. Because remember, this is normal. This is like, everyone's response is different, but this was my response to having a hearing aid break and feeling really responsible for that. It felt very avoidable, but yet it still happened. And so I just want you to realize that if you have a hearing aid and it breaks and it feels like your fault, like it just happens. It just happened and it's unfortunate, but there are things you can do to hopefully fix and repair that. And so let's lead into like work the next day after I broke my hearing aid. Luckily I had an old hearing aid that I could put in. It's a receiver in the canal hearing aid, very different than what I currently wear. It has less power. And this was really interesting because I realized how much power and volume and the ability to understand my behind the ear hearing aid gives me compared to the hearing aids that I was in before this hearing aid. So I was so grateful that I upgraded from a receiver in the canal model to a behind the ear model. These are noticeably bigger, but they process the sound better and have more thresholds for hearing and volume and sound and pitches. And so that was kind of an eye-opening experience. I couldn't believe I had been in a RIC for so long, when really I should have been in a behind the ear model. So I was grateful that I had a backup hearing aid to help me. With regards to work, I did have more difficulty understanding. It just felt more quiet. The RIC hearing aid has more air going through it. It feels more open compared to my behind the ear model with the big mold that takes up my ear. So it's kind of interesting, just kind of experiencing those differences. When I switched from a RIC to a behind the ear model, my ear felt more plugged. That's because this mold is bigger. And so when I went back from the BTE to the RIC, since I broke this hearing aid, it was the opposite. My ear felt too open and it felt like there was a lot of air and it was difficult to understand. So dealing with all of those emotions on top of work meetings and trying to focus, I utilized the Otter AI app to transcribe my work calls. This was extremely beneficial because I was able to just pull up the captions and pay attention. I did have to be patient. I had to make sure that the transcription came up and I understood what was being said before I interjected. And it was just nice to have a backup option to hear in the case that my hearing was not what I would hope it to be. So that is one hack that I use to make sound visual to compensate for the fact that my replacement hearing aid was not working as I had hoped it would. Do you have other hacks that you like to use if a hearing aid's not working, if a battery dies, or if it broke? If so, I would love to hear in the comments below. I'm always looking for new tools and resources to add to my toolkit. So in the case that my hearing aids fail or just are not available, I can still get along and still understand what's going on around me. So as you can see, I did get the loaner from my audiologist. It is working. It's not the same as my hearing aid that I love and have grown to appreciate. This is normal. New hearing aids, people just think that when you get hearing aids, you'll put them in and life will be amazing. It's different. Hearing aids are not a one size fit all. They're not even like shoes where you go to the store and there's 10 shoes to choose from and you choose the best fit. You know, there are big 6 hearing aid brands and you choose the best fit, but then you fine tune that hearing aid to your loss. And so I definitely have a preference for my hearing aids. They're mine, they're fit to me, they sound amazing. That's why hearing aids are incredible. That's why they're way better than sound amplifiers, just because of the way they can be programmed and work. So there you have it. Now you know how my hearing aid broke and I felt after it broke and how I navigated kind of work and life and dealing with those things. I will say that I found it normal to not want to answer phone calls. I only had one Bluetooth hearing aid and I preferred to text. It's just interesting to see how all of a sudden the change of not having one hearing aid of 2 could make my preferences change drastically as well. So those changes are normal. You navigate them as they come. It's important to know what resources are available, such as a transcription app and transcription options on video calls. So if a hearing aid is not working unexpectedly for some reason on any given day, you can be agile and adjust accordingly. Do you have any questions for me about this experience? If so, I would love to hear in the comments below. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. That video on what to do if your hearing aid breaks is coming soon. Stay strong, stay amazing, and have a great day.